Greetings to all. This is Anonymous. We are the Legion of One, divided by zero. Protectors of the good, destroyers of evil. It is my duty as declared by the Constitution to defend this country of all terrorists, foreign and domestic, including those that hold power. First of all, I would like to discuss with you some issues I see with the current political system. 1. The government relies on its military to hold its power. And 2. The government relies on its financial system to back the military's resources. If the military system fails, then the government can buy more resources with their financial system. If the financial system fails, then the power of the government can be increased with military resources, not by those who they are indebted to, but by the false promise of protection from the government in which they will find out that they are expendable, and are nearly pawns to their sick and sadistic game. After the deed is done, then they will also be at the mercy of the government. There will also be increased poverty rates in which the people cannot defend themselves as they have little ways out. This leaves a hole in our side, but keeps the government strong as they will still hold power over the people. But if both systems fail at the same time, then the entire government will be powerless to do anything. Without money, they cannot support the military, and without military, they cannot abuse their power. I am sending this message as a means to point out the flaw in order to exploit it in the means of defense of our country, if the government should engage in civil war against its people. This will become even more true as the government prepares FEMA concentration camps in order to enslave the American people. This act of terrorism will not happen in 2014 as the government already expects a revolt, but rather come at a surprise to the American people. More than likely, with the next elected president, or should I say, bought-out president, the government, under the influence of the power elite, Illuminati, and other sources, will force a major percentage of the population in these FEMA concentration camps. If you resist, then you will be shot on the spot as you are now considered a terrorist as you are now a threat to the government. Do not let this bring you down because there can be an upside to this. These concentration camps will bring together like-minded individuals like you and me. Together, we can plot for the end of the government and end the tyranny of the evil. Now that I have gotten that detail out of the way, I want to get to the detail of how to end this change. Our men and women in uniform, I salute you for doing your best to protect and serve this country, but it is time to do it once more. I challenge you to drop your medals and pick up your pitchforks, as your best weapons are already in your shed. You have the power to take that pitchfork and feed the cows hay, to lead them home. Lead us home. Show the military that you will no longer work for them. Without you, the military has limited power to corrupt and has to resort to using automated machines such as drones to do their dirty work. This will also show the disbelievers the true nature of the government as their eyes will now become open. They will have no choice but to do so because the people who revolt against the government will either be enslaved or will be killed. But again, do not let that put you down. What good is power when they have nobody to push that power on? Like you, I would rather take action than to sit back and do nothing at all. While I have not done much, at the very least, I have helped to open people's eyes to the tyranny of our government. This task is impossible if even one person gives up. While it is not expected of me to convince 100% of the people, I have not given up. I have not stopped talking and nothing will silence me besides death. And I will carry that to my grave. Next, the takedown of the financial system. There are only three places in which the government entrusts their funds: the IRS and U.S. Treasury, the central banks, and Wall Street. The central banks and Wall Street is very easy to take out. Taking all of your money, your shares, 401k, and all other type of funds out of these industries will leave banks and Wall Street in a state of panic. They rely on the poor to borrow money from the bank that is filled with the money of the middle class and some upper class, which they get that money from Wall Street trading, which is controlled by the power elite. Going down the chain in this fashion, the power elite gets the protection of their wealth from controlling the middle class's wages and benefits, in which causes the middle class to compete with resources with the poor in order to survive, thus killing off the poor as we are currently being shown in today's economy. There is no longer a middle class because the middle class is controlled so much by this one fact that they are now considered poor. And again, the cycle continues until there is nothing left. Ultimately, the rich will also become poor, but not before the government controls that as well. What is making this worse is that the rich see this and are acting now before it is too late, causing most of our jobs to move overseas. Increased taxes, more regulation, and etc. In order to take out the IRS and U.S. Treasury, we must exhaust all other funds the government has available. We are already close to this. The only way to seal this deal is for everybody to quit their jobs and not file their taxes. The resources remaining has to be shared among those who cannot afford to have the basic necessities of life: food, water, shelter, etc. All of this combined will completely extinguish any power the government has, and for once, they will cower before us. They will be begging for our mercy. After hearing all of this, who can you now call a terrorist? Me, or the government? While I can respect your ability to make your own decision to that question, do not let it blind you. Do research. There is a lot of material out there that supports this video. I am hoping that you take this video seriously, as these things can happen to you, and I just want all of you to be prepared for a reckoning if such an event is to take place. I am prepared because I have came out with this video in hopes of connecting like-minded individuals who know the government is corrupt and will stop at nothing to control us all, and that, by reaching out to them, can also help those prepared for the reckoning. And by connecting with said individuals, we will help one another.